everyone. Welcome back to the Talk It Out podcast, where we dive into real conversations that matter. Since it's Valentine's season, today we're going to talk about love in the digital age, online dating, social media romance, and how technology has changed relationships forever. Whether you're swiping right, sliding into DMs, or debating if likes count as flirting, this episode is for you. We're going to cover the good, the bad, and the downright weird when it comes to dating in the digital world. And of course, we've got some wild listener submissions and personal stories to share. So let's jump in. Let's start with the big question. Has technology made dating easier or more complicated? Back in the day, people met in person, wrote love letters, or got set up by friends. Now we have dating apps, FaceTime dates, and entire relationships that exist only online. Are we more connected or just overwhelmed by too many questions? What do you think? For me personally, I think technology has generally made dating more complicated. There's such a vast pool of potential partners, which can lead to decision fatigue and a tendency to treat connections as more disposable, while also creating challenges with maintaining meaningful interactions due to the ease of superficial online connections. It's also made dating easier by expanding the potential dating pool and allowing people to connect more readily with others outside of their immediate circle. So I guess it has its ups and downs, but for me, it's overwhelming. The rise of dating apps like Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge contribute to that vast pool of potential partners, which is much greater than traditional methods of dating. I personally prefer traditional methods of dating as opposed to online dating. Anyone can pretend to be anyone online. Most online interactions really do feel superficial or very surface level. Like the ease of swiping through profiles leads to focus on superficial qualities rather than actually building a deeper connection with that person. Online dating makes it easier for people to disengage from conversation as well. That's why people get ghosted all the time without explanation. Social media has created such an unrealistic expectation about relationships, just showcasing curated versions of other people's lives for likes and views. I see it all the time on Facebook or Instagram, for example. There are a lot of couples who these videos, and maybe on their end it's for monetization or to gain a bigger following or both, but to other people that are in the comments, they idealize these expectations and things going on in other people's relationships. 9 times out of 10, they're just playing a role for the video. That's not their legit everyday lives. But the internet isn't all bad. I think it allows people to connect with individuals who share similar interests, values, or even if they live far apart. I've met so many great photographers and videographers from all over the world through social media and the internet. It's cool to be able to connect with those people and share our creativity. But as far as dating, I wouldn't necessarily call it my go-to. I think it's less intimidating for some people compared to approaching someone in person, which is not something I would typically do. Going up to someone and asking for their number or asking them out. Social media has a lot of people thinking they've got options. Having too many options can make commitment significantly harder because of the overwhelming number of choices. As mentioned earlier, can lead to decision fatigue and anxiety about making the wrong selection. Then you got to deal with the increased likelihood of regretting the choice you eventually make, thus making it difficult to commit to any single option. When faced with a large array of choices, people can become overwhelmed and struggle to effectively evaluate each option. This also leads to higher expectations, making it more likely to feel dissatisfied with the final choice that you make. For the majority, I feel like it's the fear of missing out. The worry that there might be a better option not considered can further complicate people's decision-making progress. this. Given that social media plays such a huge role in relationships these days, I feel it can act as both a tool for connection and a breeding ground for insecurities and relationships, just depending on how it's used. While it allows people to stay connected and share experiences, it can also foster jealousy and unrealistic expectations by exposing users to curated online personas, leading to comparisons and feelings of inadequacy. There are some positive aspects, such as staying in touch. Social media definitely facilitates communication and allows people to easily maintain contact with loved ones, especially if you have family or friends or even a partner that lives far away. You also can share experiences. Couples can share updates about their lives, interests, and significant moments with each other through posts and photos. It also strengthens bonding. Engaging in online conversation and sharing positive experiences can deepen connections with a relationship. Now, some of the negative aspects: people compare their relationships to other people's relationships. Seeing others' seemingly perfect relationships on social media can lead to feelings of inadequacy and comparison with one's own relationship. There's a lot of jealousy and mistrust. Likes, comments, or interactions with other people on social media can spark jealousy and suspicion within a couple. Now, I'll say sometimes this can just be people overthinking, but I've been in plenty of situations where you can tell a lot about a person and who they engage with just based on social media alone. Because a lot of people put everything out there these days. But I'll say the biggest key takeaway is that social media has the potential to enhance connections and relationships, but it's crucial to be mindful of its potential to trigger insecurities and maintain healthy boundaries in online interactions. All right. Let's get into some real life experiences. I've asked listeners to send in their best and worst online dating stories. For this first submission, it's actually very heartwarming. We'll keep identities private. I won't mention any names, but she had went to dinner with her best friend, and throughout the dinner kept locking eyes with this man a couple tables away. At the end of their dinner, he had approached her table with a piece of receipt paper with his number on it, and they've been talking ever since. They have gone on 2 dates already. Both have been amazing, and they are actually scheduled to go out again tomorrow. It's super cute. Cute story. They have a lot in common, apparently. They're even the same zodiac sign. And she had said that on the first date, they matched completely. Same color scheme and everything, but completely accidental. And on the second date, same thing, same color scheme, matching and everything. It's so crazy. And for this next submission, it's more along the lines of a horror dating story. This girl had met this guy on Facebook dating. They had met up for coffee. The next day, she had received crazy text messages from what was apparently the guy's wife and mother of his children. Like they had a new baby. One of the things that she had remembered was that he had mentioned he had to take his mom to a doctor's appointment. Well, the girl that had messaged him, the mother of his kids, had mentioned something about her just having a doctor's appointment for their new baby. It was the baby's first appointment. So that's crazy. That man definitely pretended to be someone he wasn't. I've been in that situation a couple of times. Married men approaching me and lying about being married or in relationships. I've also heard some horror stories about people double booking dates, which I don't really get how that happens, scheduling 2 dates for the same day and time. And I struggle to schedule one date, but I'm also very organized and I stay on top of my calendar. So realistically, that would never happen anyway. I've heard horror stories about catfishing as well. If you're not familiar with what catfishing is, it's when someone creates a fake online persona using stolen photos or fabricated details to deceive someone into a relationship. I'll just say be cautious. If something feels off about someone you're meeting online, just trust your gut and try to verify their identity through additional means like video calls or check out their social media. With online dating taking over these days, someone had asked me, how do you know when an online relationship is real? This is one of my best friends that had asked me this actually. I'll say to tell if an online relationship is real, look for signs of open communication, mutual respect, consistent effort to understand each other, willingness to video chat, share personal details, discussing vulnerabilities, and a natural progression of the relationship rather than overly vast declarations of love or avoidance of in-depth conversation. Anyone who is not serious about you is not going to do any of these things. They're not going to take the extra time or put the energy into conversating and getting to know you. If someone seems too perfect or always has excuses to not meet in person or ask for money quickly, that's usually something to be aware of. Red flag. I'd say some of the key indicators of a genuine online relationship is open and honest communication, video calls, sharing personal details, emotional intimacy, mutual respect, consistent effort, and natural progression. Now, here are some red flags to watch out for. If someone seems too perfect, a profile seems flawless with no apparent flaws or inconsistencies, love bombing, quickly declaring strong feelings or love within a short period of time, avoiding video calls, making excuses not to video chat or always canceling planned calls, financial request, asking for money or significant financial assistance early in a relationship, inconsistent information, providing conflicting details about their life or background, pressure to rush, pushing for a committed relationship too quickly, or pressuring you to meet them in person immediately. Just make sure you do your research before getting too invested. Try to verify information about the person using online reliable sources. Also, proceed cautiously. Just take things slow. Don't rush into any serious commitment without getting to know the person well. And lastly, trust your instincts. If something feels off or too good to be true, it probably is. I've always been very wary of online dating, and I don't think I'd ever meet my soulmate online just because I like the more traditional connections and ways of meeting people. But I hear a lot of other people say the same things, like they'll never date online, they'll never meet someone who takes them seriously, blah blah blah. And while it's not guaranteed, many people have successfully found long-term partners through dating apps. I know people personally who have met on dating apps and have been together for years or are married with children. If you're more open to new possibilities, I think you're more likely to have success with dating apps, as it can expose you to a wider pool of potential partners than you might encounter in your everyday life, which can increase your chances of finding someone special. So, if you're navigating love in the digital world, here are some do's and don'ts to keep in mind. We'll start with the do's. Be clear about what you're looking for. Set healthy boundaries with texting and social media. And lastly, be cautious but open-minded. Love can come from unexpected places. Here are the don'ts. Relying on only texting, video calls, and in-person dates matter. Overanalyze every social media interaction. Play games. Honesty and communication wins every time. One last big debate. Does social media help or hurt relationships? We've all seen couples posting their perfect love life online, but is that reality? And what about relationships where one person is always checking their partner's likes and comments? Does social media create trust issues, or is it just part of modern love? This is an open discussion. Feel free to message me or comment, and I will check them out. At the end of the day, love in the digital age has its challenges, but it also brings people together in ways we never imagined. Whether you're swiping, sliding, or sticking to old school romance like myself, the key is real connection. Now we want to hear from you. Have you had a digital love success story or total disaster? Drop your stories in the comments or DM us on Facebook or Instagram. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with a friend who needs to hear this. Happy Valentine's Day, and we'll see you next